because today's Halloween, we'll talk about Gothic orchids or orchids that have Halloween colors. Usually when it's Halloween, the most used colors, the colors that we see around are black, purple and orange. Because purple is not exactly an uncommon color with orchids, not that the other two are, but purple is like the most common, I think, colors that you can see around. So I'm not going to talk about purple orchids because I'm going to say, what? Are we talking today about phalaenopsis? For example, you can find lots of purple phalaenopsis in supermarkets. But we will specifically talk about orange orchids and almost black orchids to embrace the Halloween festivity and the Halloween celebrations. So if that's something you're interested about, stick with me. We start talking about the pumpkin orchids or the orange ones that I have inside my house, and I will finish the video showing you some examples of very dark, almost that black orchids that maybe you can place in your wish list if you like Gothic plants. So let's start. For my first plant today, I will start with my beautiful Prosticea or Encyclia vitellina. This is a species that you can find in Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, usually in high altitudes. It is an intermediate to cool growing species. It's very easy to find in orchid nurseries where I live in my region of the world. Please let me know if you can find it in other regions as well. I highly recommend this plant if you love bright species of orchid. This one has the most beautiful tiny flowers with very orange petals, bright yellow center. Doesn't have any fragrance, but this plant can be in bloom for like 3 months non-stop. I had it in bloom for so long this year that I was very impressed. It was like a phalaenopsis. And since I live in a cool place, this plant is very easy to grow for me. I didn't have any problem. I usually wait for it to dry out. I offer it some light, some water, and it's very close to the brightest spot in my place. And that's it. This plant blooms non-stop. I think I have a very, very healthy plant as well. I'm so pleased that I have it in my collection. It's one of the plants that I will keep forever, and I super recommend you have it as well. So my beautiful Prosticea vitellina, let me show you something. I'm a little bit worried about the background, but hopefully you can see it. Put it in front of my face here. So each does has 2 flower spikes. Let me know if you have this plant or if that's one plant that you used to have and how it is to find it in your region. Let's go to the second super bright orange orchid in my collection. It's my Cattleya aurantiaca Mishim spots crossed with siblings. This one, I think the Encyclia vitellina, it has one, it's like a lighter orange compared to this one. This one is like this type of strike orange with red dots on its petals. It is incredible. It is amazing. I remember when it bloomed for me this year, I was like, wow. For a long time, I told everyone that was my favorite orchid. And I have problems with my Cattleyas that I think I'm sorting them out. I may do a video about it. I do have some Cattleyas that will bloom soon. I'm so happy, yay. But this one, even when for me, in a place that is very humid and cold, for me to get the right conditions for my Cattleyas was very difficult. With this one, even so, I had no issue whatsoever. This plant grew and bloomed for me very, very well and produced the most amazing display. The advantage of this one compared to the Prosticea vitellina is that it can bloom multiple times a year. So it bloomed for me like maybe 5 months ago, and it will probably bloom for me soon again. The Prosticea vitellina bloom once a year, but the flowers of the Prosticea vitellina last for like 3 months, while the Cattleya aurantiaca Mishim spots last for around a month, which is quite good for Cattleyas, but still they fade pretty quickly compared to the other one. But the flowers are amazing and super striking, and it's a very easy to go and to care for plant. The next one is the Dendrobium Stardust Firebird. Again, this one is a hybrid that has lots of Dendrobia unicum on its parents. This plant has a lot of canes, very similar to the Dendrobia noblincare. For me, this plant's pretty striking when you have the orange one. That's my case. I bought the orange one. It produces 1,000 of flowers, and when you look to that cane full of flowers, it's pretty impressive and calls your attention. This plant has a disadvantage though. It produces lots of cakeys, so instead of you having new flowers, for example, I was expecting to rebloom very easily this plant, it didn't happen. This plant kept producing cakes and cakes and cakes. Even if I stopped fertilizing it, that's what some people tell you to do. I don't think it's a very easy hybrid for you to rebloom, so keep it in mind when you purchase one of these. But it's quite hard to resist. I think it's one of the most orange plants that I've seen in real life, with a beautiful cascading of bloom. A dendrobium that should be easy to rebloom, but I do have, because of the genetics, you need to be very careful with the way that you care for it. Otherwise, you have lots of offsprings, but not exactly new blooms. And we need to have mature growths to be able to rebloom this plant. I haven't been able to rebloom my plant yet, but I can't deny that the flowers are pretty orange, striking and beautiful. So this concludes my selection of 3 super orange plants for today. And now let's dive into the darker area. So let's talk about real gothic, dark type of flowers. Not exactly, but yeah. We don't have real black flowers in nature. Usually when you see something that looks like black, it's just a combination of different type of pigments. Usually we have reds and purple pigments that will show you from a distance, and depends on the amount of the different, and blue as well, sorry, dark blue, different types of pigments. When they are combined, if you look from the distance, you're gonna say, oh, it is black. There is no such thing as black eyes, black flowers, but there are things that can come very close to it. So I'm gonna talk about some of these orchids. I don't own any of them, so I cannot give you practical advice, but I wanna show you how they look like and what I found in discovery about them. And I'm gonna start with I think the most classical one that most of the orchid growers, YouTubers, people around the internet talk about. That is Monierora Millennium Magic Witchcraft. The name itself suggests that it's very Halloween-y, if there is something like that. It's from the Catasetinea family. It is a hybrid that was created recently. It's not an old hybrid. The flowers, when this will lose all of its leaves, you're gonna have a bare cane, then it will produce a new growth with new leaves and it will bloom for you. If you have experience with Catacetums and all of the plants inside its family, and you think you do very well with it, if this plant is affordable in your region, this is one that you should go for, because the flowers, they are very, very dark in color. If you look from the distance, they look almost black. Apparently they are fragrant. Usually Catacetums and they can have powerful fragrances. I don't know how this one is because I don't own it. And if you look up close, you notice that's basically dark purple, very purple color. But it does look very blacky, and the flowers are very, very striking and dark in color. So it is a classical if you want to have an orchid that looks almost black. And as you know, Catacetums, they can attract pests like nothing. So if you struggled with them, I would suggest you to go to another one. But if you have luck with them, and if they are affordable in your region, I think it's an amazing choice. Also here in the UK, it's pretty easy to find. I've looked online and you can buy it. and I hope it is affordable in other regions of the world as well. And it is a plant that you can definitely grow inside your home. So that's my first suggestion for your dark orchid. The second one is not an orchid that I think everybody can grow. I don't have any Draculas at home. As you can see, the name Dracula could be Halloween in itself, but not every Dracula is pretty dark. I chose one that I researched and I found it, and it does have a very interesting and wild look. But I have to say something. Draculas, they need temperature that needs to be regulated to their legs, and also lots of humidity to keep them alive. So they are not plants for beginners. If you don't have any experience with orchids, if you don't have the right conditions for it, you can definitely try, but it may waste your money. If you think you have a chamber, if you have specific conditions for it, Draculas, there are lots of people that grow Draculas and they love Draculas. It is a cool growing type of orchid, so bear that in mind. The Dracula that I selected today is Dracula roselii. Anyway, it is found in the very high altitudes of Colombia. I don't think it's a plant very easy to come across. What I found very interesting with these orchids is that the flowers, they can be between 5 and 10 centimeters long. I put the inks on the screen. So they are pretty large for Draculas. They are dark, but you can definitely see some brown, purplish. Some of the flower of the pictures are on the internet. You can definitely see that's not completely black. But the look of it is pretty wild, and for me, it reminds me of Halloween like nothing. If you have the right conditions and if you come across easily, I don't think it's a plant that is very easy for collectors to find. It is also a hybrid, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. Here. And also, if you enjoyed this video until here, please hit the like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel, it helps me a lot. And let's go to the next and last plant of this list to complete this Halloween spooky themed video. So the last plant that I chose today, it is a Cymbidium. I know that Cymbidiums are very popular, so lots of people collect Cymbidiums. So people that collect Cymbidiums definitely know this one. I don't have many Cymbidiums, I have one, and I give to my mother-in-law another one. So I've read a little bit about them, I know a little bit about them. Mine one is it's a hybrid, so it's a tough one. But I don't have this dark Cymbidium as well. But I do think it's a classical Gothic flower. I don't think it's one that you can find easily as well. This one is definitely a hybrid. And if you don't know Cymbidiums, you can grow them in gardens, but they need a temperature drop to rebloom. So they are seasonal plants as well. Usually they will grow vegetatively during summer, reproducing new leaves, and they grow beautifully and nicely in your garden. But when it's like autumn and winter, they will start spiking. So they need this drop in temperature as well to spike and to produce new flowers. You can use maybe a airy soil medium mix to pot your Cymbidium in. As I said, they grow in gardens, and it's an advantage and also an disadvantage, depends on your space. If you have an outdoor area, if you grow them indoors, they are super large and massive plants, but I think you can definitely grow them well inside if you can provide this drop in temperature near winter time for them to rebloom. So the last plant for today's video is Cymbidium Kiwi Midnight. So it is apparently, according to Google, is it a Mary clone of the awarded Gazerland. It's I didn't find it to sell in many places, so I think it's a hard plant to find available everywhere. But the flowers, they are very, very dark in color, and that they become pendant as most of the Cymbidiums. So you have that beautiful pendant display of very dark petals with the center it's lighter. I think can be like pinkish, whitish, but it is a classical Gothic orchid, and it's quite impressive how dark it can look. I've seen pictures of this before. I am sure you probably have as well, when there are some websites that show amazing orchids. So you have these almost black orchids, and sometimes they are sold as black, but they are not actually real black orchids. As I said before, there is no such thing as black, but they can pass as amazing Gothic plants. That was everything that I want to tell you today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, again, as I said before, please hit the like button and follow me here. This week I will definitely be showing what happened with my gambling orchid. That is also a show of horror, perfect for this week of Halloween, showing you how I'm treating them and what happened to them. And stick to me and follow me here and follow me on my Instagram if you like orchids and orchid type of content. That's it. I hope you have a lovely week. Bye bye.